All right, guys. So, welcome to the overview of the brand new growth guide for this year. And I'm very excited to give this to you guys because honestly, the other one was so outdated and it just needed to be cleaned up and organized. And so, we've got the new growth guide for you guys. And I want to share this with you and kind of walk you through every single column here and then explain how to actually use it, the flow that we've implemented now, and ultimately help you guys pump out winning ads and keep track of them properly. Okay, so first things first here is the status column here. All right, so this status column is basically going to be blank for whenever you have ideas. So if you have a new ad idea, you're going to put that inside of there, right? And then whenever you decide to actually start working on that idea, whether you do a weekly call with your team or you're just putting your ideas in here and then you're like, all right, this is the one that I'm going to do this week, you're then going to change the status to working. Okay. And then from there, there's also learning. So learning is once you actually launch the ad. And then the final one on here is filming. So if you are planning to film specific content or you have an idea that you want to film here, you can turn that status into filming, which just means like you're trying to go and get content for that specific ad idea, which is why we have that status. And then of course we have the status of done, which means you've actually gone through this entire process. You've marked the results and you've marked the learnings in there, which means that this is now done. Do not mark ads done once you launch them. Okay, you put them into learning, so it kind of like triggers your brain that this still feels like it's active, which means you need to go and process learnings, and that's how we force you guys to do that. Okay, batch number is very simple. It's just whatever batch number you're on. So if you're on the next batch here, you add batch number 2, and then you would add batch number 3. And again, we usually only do that once we set something into working. And rather than calling it a DCT, we just have started to call it batch because it's, DCTs are kind of going away. Author is very simple. It's like whoever the idea is the author. So inside of here, AI is actually the author of this concept, so he's getting credit for it. And then the ad concept itself is, I think, the thing where a lot of people get confused. A concept is just basically it's the angle, it's the idea, it's kind of the name of the ad. Okay, and so this ad concept is called the no worry parent. All right, the idea of this ad, as you will be able to see outlined here, and I can actually open this preview, so we're kind of skipping a few columns here, is we're going after a specific avatar, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to feature a parent, a mom or a dad, narrating their daily struggles with keeping their home safe for their children. The story will revolve around how indoor air quality can be overlooked as a health risk for kids, especially with traditional humidifiers that can, actually kind of put bacteria and mold into the air. Okay. And so this is just going to say we're going to introduce our product as the worry-free and filter-free solution to, this dry air problem that exists. Okay. And so that is the ad concept. The ad concept is like the no worry parent. Oh, I'm a parent and I don't even have to worry about this at all. Right. Which is no parent wants to worry, which is why it's actually a really good concept. Okay. And so whatever that concept is for you, just give it a name and you're going to put that there. Okay. That's what goes in the ad concept column. Now, inside of the avatar column, you should have seen how we build this out. But now inside of here, I just showed my Slack. So I'm probably gonna have to cut that out. Now inside of here, this is where you will select the avatar. And the reason why we do things this way is because we want you thinking left to right as you build this ad. So the no worry parent concept is the concept, right? Who is this concept for? Well, that's where we choose the avatar. This is going to be parents with young children. Perfect. Now, what is the desire that this person has? And for this one specifically, we're actually going to choose the desire of, I want to be a great mother. And again, the desire process is down over here, and there's going to be trainings that come on that. I'm just going to explain the creative roadmap first. And so the desire that we're going after is moms who basically want to be a great mother and, they want to have strong relationships with their kids, right? And then from there, the awareness level that we're going after is solution aware. And now this is super important, and we found ourselves actually using awareness level more than anything when it comes to actually optimizing ads. Now, there will be times where you might actually test a specific type of ad where you actually go 3 different awareness levels with your headlines or with your visuals. That's a little bit more advanced, and you don't have to really think that deep about it. But what we usually do is we usually try to pick a specific awareness level that we want to target as the core idea. And so if you don't know your awareness levels, you need to understand them. But unaware is people that don't know they have any problem or anything at all. Problem aware is people who are aware of a problem. Solution aware is people who are aware of solutions, like they know there's ways to fix dry air. And then there's product aware, which is people who are actually aware of humidifiers. And then there's most aware, which is people who are actually aware of of this brand, okay? And so you have to think through that journey with you of where you want to start this specific ad. And then from there, what you are testing and what are you creating and what gives you confidence that this will actually improve is where you guys can add the actual brief, or like not the brief, the actual explanation of your concept, right? Like, why are you doing this? Well, we know that, again, as this AI actually demonstrated for us, and we are working on doing more of this inside of the AI program, but I want you guys to understand that you don't need a big fancy doc like this. It can also just be kind of written inside of the growth guide here, okay? So you could just copy this here, okay? And you could just paste this and it should pop in like that. And now it's like, okay, well, this is the reason why I'm making this ad. And it can also just be something as simple. It's like, I was doing research on Reddit, and I always hate how I can't do shift, and found that a lot of parents are constantly worried about, hurting or their child's safety, right? Exactly what the AI is writing. I also found that there is a lot of mold that builds up in traditional humidifiers. So this angle is to help parents feel better about their kids' health, right? Like, that is the angle that we're going after. There's the avatar, there's the desire, there's the awareness level, right? And we're starting it at a solution aware level as well. We sometimes also throw hook ideas in here, right? So it's like the no worry parent, where we might start at solution aware and say, I thought I had, dry air figured out. Okay? And I know you guys like some more of the live stuff, so I'm giving you some live stuff as well. Okay, and now from there, once you actually have this laid out of like, what are you creating and testing and what gives you confidence, and you've got it laid out for what the concept is. And again, a lot of this for you guys, like, this is our team kind of presenting ideas, but if you guys have a team presenting ideas, you probably want something similar to this, right? I'll go ahead and pull up some other examples so that way you guys can see this part in action as well. So for example, here's an ad idea that one of our team members put in here that said, look, I'm iterating on this DCT number and I want to do an AI voiceover format similar to our previous winner. So easy to clean UGC, talking specifically about stainless steel. Here's a Reddit thread. There seems to be a common belief that on the market that all dehumidifiers on the market are plastic, and people just avoid getting a dehumidifier because of the danger of microplastics. And that's why I think this is doing well right now. It's a unique mechanism. So I like to do a video ad about it, maybe hooks, be something like, I thought all humidifiers were plastic, or something along those lines, right? And so the point of this is that we're actually thinking through the entire process here. You can know that you can ignore these desires because they were just kind of pulled randomly from an old sheet. But at the end of the day, that's kind of the point. Like, that's what I want to see from the team. But if it's just you doing that, you don't obviously have to lay it all out, but it might be helpful for you to do that too. Okay, now the ad type section here is where you're going to go through three things. Okay, and now I know a lot of people get lost in the sauce in this, and so I might have to film a part two, but there's three types of ads that you can make. There's an iteration, there's an imitation, and there's an ideation. Okay, so an idea, or we'll start with the simplest one, iteration. Okay, so an iteration ad is exactly what you guys just saw here. So what he actually wanted to do, an iteration slash, this is the wrong thing. So this is confusing you guys. Let me turn this to an iteration. Okay, more or less, we were iterating on DCT number 133. Which means this was an existing ad that we were running, and we wanted to make an iteration slash variation of it, right? We wanted to kind of turn this into a video and talk more about like this idea of like stainless steel humidifiers and why they're great. Okay, so that is an iteration. It was confusing because it said ideation, but it's just because it's pasting weird into the actual sheet. It's a different sheet, okay? I promise. So that is an iteration, okay? An iteration is when you guys are focusing on making an existing ad that you made different or better or whatever that is, okay? That is an iteration. It's the easiest one to understand. The next one is an imitation, okay? An imitation style ad is where you purely are going on a tool like Atria or Foreplay, and you're going through there and you just see an ad idea and you want to recreate it. Or you're scrolling through your Facebook feed and you want to recreate it. To show you this, let me grab an example. So, for example, disguising a simple video ad as an organic content based off of what competitors are doing. Context, copy aligns with the video and has to be congruent and clear. Should we do a pen angle, a plant angle, whatever? And what this was is a simple video from Atria, this is not actually a good ad to take inspiration from because it ran for 6 days. But this is why I tell you guys to not go crazy on imitations, which is what a lot of you guys do. And that's why a lot of the ads that you make kind of suck at times. But an imitation is where, like, hey, I see this ad that my competitor is running or someone else is running, and let's go ahead and just recreate it ourselves. Okay, these can work at times, but just know that imitation ads usually do not move the needle forward. Okay, most of the times it's ideations and iterations. Okay, and I know these words are fancy and weird, but just know that this is an imitation when you're just copying. Like, the whole idea is just copying this ad. Okay, that is what an imitation is. Now, an ideation is where you come up with your own ideas, okay? Like this one here, as you can see, is not a concept that we've done. It's not even a concept that I've looked at or got inspo from anywhere else. I simply did research. I understood the customer, and now I have an idea because parents are worried all the time. Again, there's nothing, maybe there were some things that influenced it, but there was nothing specifically that I'm replicating or copying, and I came up with this idea on my own. Now, where I think a lot of people get confused is, say, for example, you then go to Atria and you try to get some inspiration of how to execute the ad. That is still kind of following that's like a ideation / imitation. And again, I'm not trying to confuse you guys on this, but just know that ideations are what always move the needle forward. And ideations are ideas that you just come up on your own. Okay, you look at your research, you were looking through threads on Reddit, and you saw, for example, that even I don't want to use that example, but this one here, again, parents are constantly worried about their kids' health, and they think that, they don't know what to do. They've tried purifiers or whatever, and they're aware of some other solutions that can help with, dry air, which is why they're solution aware. And now I was like, okay, let me just come up with an idea that targets that avatar and talks about how, you don't have to worry as a parent if you use this product. Okay, so that is an ideation. There's nothing that really influenced that other than research. Okay, so that is what ad type is, and you want to select that. If you're not sure whether or not it's an imitation or an ideation, I mean, it's pretty simple if you ask me. I've looked at it and talked about it enough. If you have questions, obviously message in the chat. But it's most of the time you should be doing iterations or ideations. You really should only do imitations if you're just you have no ideas at all and you're just, you need something, okay? But anytime we've brought on creative strategists and all their ideas are imitations, they just go to Atria and they're like, we should remake this ad, they always flop and they suck. Okay, so ideations are where it's at. Just keep in mind that obviously they're a little bit harder to pull off depending on the clips that you have, but ideally they're the ones that do the best. Now, ad format is very simple. They're static, video, and promo. That's it. Okay, it's very simple. I don't need to explain that. Promo is just a sale ad that you're doing. And that's it. There used to be another column here about hooks and holds and all that kind of stuff. Or if you're new here, then don't worry about that. I'm going to film a part 2 that talks about this. And then as you can see here, there's the link to the brief, which you guys will actually be able to preview what one of our briefs look like in Milano. And there will be another training that comes on that. There's also ideally the link to a Facebook ad, which you guys won't be able to see, but you should put the link to the Facebook ad there so you can review it as well. And then you have the results of winning and losing ad. It's very, very simple now. Either the ad got majority of spend in the ad account and it hit KPI, or it got some spend in the ad account and hit KPI, depending on how generous you want to be. And that would be a winning ad. But if it did not get spend, or it did not get spend or it got some spend and did not hit your KPI, then it's a losing ad. Okay, it's very, very simple. And then from there you have learnings. Okay, so you need to then process whether or not this ad was, again, a winner or a loser, and figure out why. That is super, super important. I'll be honest with you, for a lot of you that are at volume, sometimes you don't have all the time to review losers. So what we recommend is that unless you are if you didn't find any winners, then you should go and review all your losing ads, or at least the losing ads that you thought were should have been winners. They were high confident ads that for some reason just didn't convert. You need to review those and figure out what went wrong. But if you're hitting winning ads, you need to make sure you're reviewing your winning ads bare minimum. Okay, I understand that if you're doing 60 ads a month or 50 concepts a month, which would be 150 ads a month, you might not have the time to review every single ad, but it's important for you to try, number one, and number two, actually make sure that you are keeping track of this stuff, okay? At least keep track of whether or not it was a winner or a loser. Okay, and so that is the new creative roadmap. There's going to be a part 2 that talks about the 3 different types of ads that you're going to make, but I will talk about in the next video. Hopefully this all makes sense. And again, if you guys have questions on this new creative roadmap, make sure you let us know in the chat.